Put me on there. You want to ask? I think the part I kind of understood. Not out. Down. Yeah. Like, which is on the roof. Yeah, that's the ocean in there. Well, we should have done that. That's all. It's just. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. We looked at that. Okay, you can come back. Go up there. You don't. Right. Those two broad houses. The next few. Okay. Something. Patterns. We don't call that. For right now, I think right now he's slammed. Yes. Nothing going all the way that place. I look at that, I don't know, it's empty down the road, and just 9. What's your bunch? You don't have to pop in. It's not that happy. United States which stands one nation under God, indivisible, under the justice for all.
Ruling Vogus, Ragnar,
Yes.
Van Buskirk,
Yes.
Painter,
Here.
Davis,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Okay, we're going to start this evening out with a proclamation. And we were notified from this organization who's working together to make awareness in the county for autism. So this is a proclamation by the mayor of the village of St. Joseph, Illinois. I hereby declare that the village recognizes April as Autism Awareness Month. This April 2nd marked the 16th annual World Autism Awareness Day. Autism support, understanding, and advocacy is a problem that can always use more assistance and resources. As a result, the Champaign-Urbana Autism Network is working with community members to develop the Central Illinois Autism Support Center. This center will be the beacon of hope for our region to support, educate, advocate, and empower our autistic community members, their family members, and public citizens alike to ensure this growing population of need has what needs to succeed in our society. If you or someone you know can benefit from these resources, you can, or you just want to help, please get in contact with the Central Illinois Autism Support Center. We'll sign that and we'll share that with their group. This Saturday, they're having an event. So we along with some of the other cities in the county will have our proclamation saying that we support their efforts. So I'll sign those. So in your package, you have the minutes of the regular village board meeting, March 28th. And then Joe. No, they're not.
No, they're not there.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'll have them for the next meeting. I apologize.
Oh, sorry about that. I thought they were in there. But you do have your executive session minutes in front of you. So we'll go ahead and make a motion to approve those and then we'll hand those back into Joe.
I'll make a motion. I'm starting that.
Wagner and Van Buskirk,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Van Buskirk,
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Sorry if that was confusing. I was trying to verify that's who it was. 6-0.
Hey, in your package, I do know that there's a treasury report. So, if you've all had a chance to look over that, if you have any questions for Debbie or for Joe on that report. If not, I can have a motion to approve the treasury.
I do have a question about the ARPA. We have that allocated money that can take particular place.
ARPA,
Yeah,
it's in its own fund, the great funding fund, so it's 54.
yeah,
So it's sitting there whenever, we determined to use the ARPA funds for the upgrade.
I remember there were certain criteria, man, I didn't know if we had anything that we had specifically allocated for that. I know we talked about several things.
Yeah, it's almost 600 grand and you're doing a $14 million worth of work of this sewer plan and another $7 million for Elm Street total. So there's plenty of places to throw it in. But we're doing compliance reports annually and ours have been pretty easy because we haven't spent any of it yet. So next year by this time we'll probably have expended it. So
Any other questions? Not motion.
I'll make a motion.
second.
I'm sorry, who was the first?
Jeff.
Jim, second.
Okay, Van Buskirk,
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
6-0.
Next item is the investments. We also have the report here in your packet. As far as investment funds. If we have no questions there.
I make a motion to accept the investment report as submitted.
Oh, that's good.
So it was Terry and Art.
Painter,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
and Buskirk,
Yes.
6-0.
The bills are in your packet. Does anyone have any questions in regards to the bills?
I do. What are we using the floodlight fixture for?
It's going out, sports complex.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Make a motion.
Second.
Wagner and Cummings,
Yep.
Davis,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
and Buskirk,
Yes.
Painter, 6-0.
I will open it up for any public comment. Is there anyone out there that would like to? Thank you, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. Thank you.
Speak during the public comment section.
These guys are here for something else.
Oh, something else?
Okay.
Okay. I was here, about Fourth of July parade again, the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
So,
If you don't mind, you go ahead and I know who you are.
Yeah.
Some of us know who you are. If you go ahead and state your name and.
oh, sorry, Jeremy Yonka, 1602 Magnolia Drive, Scott Master for 240, here in St. Joe. Did the special application form again. Pretty much the same as last year. We're gonna try and start it a little earlier, even more this year. I think Champaign had moved theirs up even earlier last year too, so we're just gonna keep moving earlier to try and not have to fight against that. We'll do the same route. Basically, we're also gonna be collecting probably just mainly monetary donations. I'm still working to work with the Methodist Church. We did a monetary donation last year, but we gave them $300 or $400. It's a pretty decent amount that they appreciated. We're also going to try to do new this year. I can't think somebody on the here suggested, or somebody did, vet for vets. I'm gonna reach out to vet clubs and see about having veterans ride in Corvettes in the parade and kind of do some kind of fundraiser sponsorship for that. We'll also be giving out prizes for certain categories. So I know the Christmas one, I think, had like, best Christmas theme or something. So we'll do probably something similar with like best golf cart, most patriotic, that kind of thing. I think that was it. We'll work with you guys on the traffic control, the four-way was the big one. We can have somebody just in case to back that up, but we'll have the same thing coming off the interstate, diverting the traffic towards the high school, so we want backed up to the interstate. And I think that's it. Yeah, so I do have that I can turn in. Did anybody want to look at it? Maybe a couple extra copies?
In the future, you could just submit it to me and then I'll send it out in the packet.
Okay,
And then they'll approve it that way. So no big
Yeah,
deal,
that's
but
fine.
that way they had a chance to look at it before, but this isn't a big deal, obviously. So if you just want to leave it with me, I'll get it.
Okay.
Appreciate you guys doing it again. I think it was well attended last year and it was,
Mhm.
I thought it was a success.
Yeah, and it definitely seems to get bigger and bigger each year since the first time we did it for father-in-laws.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
so-
think it's well attended and well appreciated, so.
And yeah, just trying to get out ahead of it, and with the donations that I heard afterwards, some people are like, I would have donated it, I would have known. It's like, I guess I'm gonna start earlier.
No, no, perfect, so. Well, thank you for sharing that with us and we thank you for doing it.
Yep, no problem. And then since I am here, I want to talk about pickleball real quick. So I participated in the tournament last weekend at the high school. It was very successful. I thought there was 8 beginner teams, 16 intermediate and 8 advanced. So there was quite a few teams there. And obviously it's pickleball group we have here in town, a lot of people to ask me certain questions and I don't run the pickleball here in town as far as the nets and stuff, but here are my questions. When will the nets be up? And are they gonna be at the sports complex
Hopefully maybe yet this week.
this week? And at the sports complex? Good, okay. And if you need any help, the St. Joe pickleball group will help out with that.
Okay.
So are they still doing the fencing around it?
Yes.
I guess I probably just need to talk to you then about some, like, putting the tarps up for like wind barriers. Cause like, if anything over like 5 miles an hour, you really can't play the ball. I think we talked.
Well, I mean, I really appreciate the city putting it up, but that is a horrible place for. I mean, we need to invest in something. It is, I mean, we went to Florida this weekend and it is, my in-laws live in a 55-year-old and it is cutthroat there on pickleball, but they have the nicest courts and I really think that, like you said, I attended that event as well. And people love it. I mean, and I really think we need to be looking at doing some sort of court if we could.
I know I've talked to Joe in the past about redoing Cole Park. Cause you could put 2 courts, I went and measured it. You could do 2 courts this way to where the volley or the tennis is this way.
We've already had, so I know you don't know, you haven't been made aware of this, but we had a contractor who does that come in. And we bought the most expensive pickleball nets that you can buy.
I know.
So we're kind of in a pickle. What do you do with it? Okay, because if one, we don't want to I'll be totally honest, I have concerns about monopolizing the tennis court. Because there's still tennis players and
It's growing.
and so we don't want to, I would discourage this group from having a situation where one group is taken away from another's use.
I
of
have to
the
work
court.
across the country with pickleball tennis.
So, and
Well, but I will tell you, like down there is like no tennis players. And you're fighting everybody for pickleball. Now around here, it's probably different, but I'm just saying they have tennis courts left empty, as pickleball is.
talking to that same contractor, we got a quote for what it would cost to build what we understand that you all would like, which is a little bit smaller than what Champagne's Park District just put in, comparable.
I think I'll put in like 5. You're talking about one at Centennial?
Yeah.
Down? I think that's like 5 courts.
Yep, so that's around $250,000. And so my point to this is, we've done a really good job at building a bunch of facilities. We haven't done a really good job historically of having a revenue source to pay for the upkeep and maintenance of those facilities. So prior to adding expensive capital facilities like that, I would encourage you to explore other revenue options for it, because every dollar that we put into recreational facilities comes away from something else that's more of an operational nature, that's not for, by very definition, extracurricular. So
I'd like to set up a time, with Joe and I, with you and a couple other of the people who are,
Lyle.
you know, yeah, the ones that are, you know, trying to put together more with the pickleball. Because we do have a couple of ideas that would be beneficial to the village and to help you guys get what you want also. But I think it's gonna have to take a coordinated effort to do that. But if we could get you guys all together and I said, and Joe could go over some things that he's thought about and we've talked a little bit about, and go over the costs of what we had priced for out at the park. Because it's plenty doable, it's just finding the resources to do it, because right now our resources, you know, get shared a lot of different directions, you know, so.
we just put $100,000 in Brooks out there as an example. And that's something that none of our people that participate in athletics out there will ever appreciate, because it's a growth. You never appreciate a growth, but it still has a huge cost to it. So I'm not trying to rain on it, I'm just saying that there's something we need to.
Oh, yeah.
At the back end.
Yeah, yeah.
And keep it nice.
And I was just going with like simple ones, because the other thing was like, can we just temporarily tape it? Because some of us have portable nets. I mean, they used a couple of them at.
And there might be an option to use the tennis courts temporarily, as long as we don't get into a big battle with the people playing tennis. I mean, it'd have to be a shared effort.
Right, and that's,
That-
that was my
that
question.
Temporary TV on the tennis courts with those temporary nets that are, the easy to move nets
Mhm.
that you guys carry around with you
Yeah, I mean, it's stuck in the bags. like-
would probably be a feasible alternative.
Maybe we could set up different hours for tennis for.
And that's what
pickleball.
another thing was
I
like,
mean,
and it'd be like set hours.
posted, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I would say too.
And I think that could probably be something we can work out too, as long as that way the tennis people know when they're, could be out there.
But many may not know, there is a tennis team at the high school now.
But it's not recognized, I don't think, as a sport.
There's when they serve 12 players. Now it's 12 players.
Fight over the tennis court.
Yeah, we would just have to check with their host.
But I guess my question would be, who do you expect to referee between the tennis people and the pickleball people? Me or other staff?
We post times and then we go from there.
Well, you have a lot of faith in folks working together, and I really, I know, but we're gonna do whatever we gotta do.
I just want to say, this group, this community is getting ready to go through strategic planning. And this can be a part of strategic planning that we're going to do. And we pick priorities and then we move forward. And, the issue is the funding source, the revenue source. And, we want to do everything for everybody, but we can't. And so we have to, as a community, prioritize what we're going to do and when we're going to do it. And I think that that's what strategic planning is going to help us to do. So stay tuned. I hope that everyone can participate and make sure that we follow that and
Yeah,
whatever.
and I think that's one thing too that we've talked about with the strategic planning too, is I think it would be good for us to get something, a type of a plan for the future of our parks and stuff, and that would include revenue sources. But yes, we most definitely would like to be in touch with your whole group, and like I said, our strategic planning is coming up right in May. So, we'll be able to have some more ideas, hopefully after that also.
But on another, I do agree with you about the tarps too, because you can't, every time we've played out there, you can't even play the wind blowing the
Yeah,
ball.
I'm trying to offer something. Yeah. Yeah.
Those fences hold the tarp though.
Well, so they can, I just do stake them down and do some other things. And I think we talked last year a little bit more about adding more sandbags. So I just, obviously I'm passionate about pickleball. I just want to see the really nice nets that you guys bought and get used instead of like sitting there, no one plays on them, because like I said, about anything over 5 miles an hour, you can't play on it because you're basically, you're essentially hitting a wiffle ball that, so it's got holes in it. So any breeze or anything, it just takes it. So that's what we talked about. If we could maybe do it cold, less wind, plus there's lights there, so you can play at night where there's less chance of wind, which was another question, like, because I drove by there last night, is there a certain time the lights come on, or is it?
They may not be turned on yet for the summer.
Is it like a sensor that comes on, or is it?
So, yeah.
Okay, and then I guess what time, until 10 PM or something, or?
Yes.
Okay, so even that could help too, with like, a lot of us probably like to play later, I don't know, it's cooler, so if the tennis is playing. 4 to 6 or something, and we're.
I think we're most, sure, I mean, we would be willing to give that a shot, but yes, we don't have a lot of staff, we don't have a park person to regulate all that, so yes, it would be kind of an honor system if we set up a time for tennis versus pickleball, and, hopefully everybody would abide by that, but my biggest goal would be that they're being used. Whichever group is using them, if they're open and there's not tennis players, then by all means, we have a quick pickleball game, but knowing that if tennis players show up, you might have to say, oh, well, it's tennis time, so.
Yeah,
But I think if everybody works together, I could see that being feasible too, so.
I'd say of the 50 or 60 people I play pickleball with, there's probably one person. that's A little set in their ways, it's just, so, but yeah.
I have yet to play it, so I don't know what all the hubbub is about, but I know everybody I've talked to plays it, loves it, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess my last thing was, yeah, then, because we really want to have like a St. Joe pickleball tournament, because all around here, Savoy, Champaign, everybody has like their own pickleball tournament stuff, and so it'd be nice to have the St. Joe Open, and we could do it as a fundraiser or whatever.
I would love, and that would be another thing too, is, you know, you got a nice group of people there that are serious about pickleball. Fundraising is always a great option.
Yep.
Get it done a whole lot quicker that way if you, it eliminates the whole tinkering around with revenue sources, that we have to go through, but we're more than willing to work with, groups on donations and things too, or access to any grant money or anything either. That's, it's not that we don't want pickleball out there. We just need to find a way to pay for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Here.
You got your form contact and the president for the club.
Okay, we have nothing under old business. So I'm gonna jump down to new business. And what I'm gonna do is
Oh, before
I'm gonna rearrange the new business just a little bit so that we have those in the audience that can bug out a little earlier, that they don't have to sit through the meeting. So
that. Okay, no, thank you, I appreciate it.
we're gonna jump right into the fall festival discussion. And we have a handout here with some questions that was already asked to the folks that serve on the committee. And this, adding this to our agenda is just to have the discussion. There's been questions off and on through the years about the festival committee and if there's anything that we could do to help the group. Make
These
things a little
questions-
more-
We're good because it gives the opportunity for the festival board to be able to open communication with this community.
I don't know the festival board, so could they tell me their names?
Yeah,
I mean, I see them on here, but I don't know who goes with whom.
I'm Kenny Trot,
Thank you.
Eric Buzzard,
Thank you.
Steve Dumber,
Mike Peters back there.
Okay.
My people right over
so, Joe, how did you want?
This is-
I mean,
The questions were via primer, and this is your all's discussion to have with the group about any.
Well, I just don't understand why it's just not a city ran thing. Why we have to have a committee and it's just not done with the city.
years ago,
Number one, the American Legion started sponsoring the fall festival. Have sponsored the fall festival for years. And we'd like to continue to do so.
And you can't do that if it's a city run.
That's right.
Well, they take care of the carnival. And they do the contract with carnival, and that's a source of revenue for them to maintain their building facility and their expenses. The city's never had the contract for the festival as far as the rides.
As far as the whole thing, that the American Legion actually started that.
Yeah,
I have to get with Gary. Gary's done some research on it. But it originally started, it was called the American Legion St. Joseph Fall Festival.
How did that change names, or how did that fall off the name?
That I couldn't answer.
So this money that's raised, that goes to you? That's
A portion
$2,500
of it,
that's in the account?
Pardon?
The $2,500 that goes in
No.
the account?
No,
no,
Well, then
that
I'm
is
totally
vendors,
confused
that
there.
is vendors. If you read these other questions, the American Legion gets the money from the carnival. They contract with the carnival.
So why didn't the city do the rest of it?
Why doesn't the city do what?
The rest, so this part that's the 2,500 or whatever, why aren't we doing that?
Doing that issue.
Never has been. No, he's talking about the community council, that $2,500, which is in the community council.
It's also revenue that's generated off of this, just booth fees. That's the only thing that's generated.
I don't care what it is. I'm just saying, why doesn't the city do it? Why is there a separate committee for that?
That was.
Because the city didn't want to do it.
I'm saying it was, I'm saying, why? Why didn't the city just take that over?
Tammy, right now, history, I don't know the.
I mean, there's no reason to have this fund in here when the city could just handle.
Well, I don't know, but back then, the village didn't want anything to do with it.
Is that the case?
We don't know. That's way before our time.
Maybe my time too, but
That's what Tammy and I's time.
yeah, I think the biggest question probably at this point is to keep things running smoothly. I think the Legion does a great job handling the carnival aspect of it, and you know, they've done it for many, many years and everything, but I think maybe what I'm hearing is I think we should still have a committee for the festival, because you as trustees and as the village, you know, we don't want to run the festival. I think that's a true statement that, you know, we don't want to run it, but we would like to have the, because especially now since we do the permitting and different things, since it's on village property, I don't think it would be a bad idea. It would probably even be better for those that serve on the festival committee, is if it was under the umbrella of the village for liability purposes and that sort of thing. It would be appointed, and saying appointed is basically just a technicality that is designated, that so that you know who's on that festival committee, who is running the festival, who, you know, I don't know how many people realize that the carnival rides are done by the Legion.
I know, yeah, I did.
And the various different aspects that it is, but I think if it was more formalized and, you know, you have this committee, you know, someday Mike Peters may not want to oversee the festival. And so,
Probably won't.
I mean, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of times not always a lot of appreciation. Sometimes, you know, you get a lot of grumpy complaints, you know, like anything else. But anyway, I think to see the future of the festival, I think it would be a good idea to have it be a committee that, you know, is under the umbrella of the village for not only liability purposes, but even though you have a very small bank account, it's my understanding right now it's underneath Mike's name alone. And
No, St. Joseph Community Council.
but does that have a PIN number or anything? It has a separate taxing number.
Yeah.
So do you have to file paperwork on that every year then for?
I think so, yeah, we got all that.
So-
It's under yes, LLC.
I mean, to me,
So you do
what my
have a
problem is I have no problem with you running it. My problem is that they're starting to me, it looks like the city pays for the lighting out there. Did we pay for the porta potties this year?
No.
You didn't drag porta potties from somewhere else.
We use what we already. So we did.
Exactly.
Just,
So you're starting to use city stuff, but yet you don't want to have it run through the city, but yet there's resources.
we didn't say we
starting
didn't want to
use.
run through the city. Nobody here said that at all.
Well, I did
We've
that.
actually had a discussion about, none of us have a problem with going under the village.
That's.
Except for the Legion has,
That's
the
what-
Legion has to have control over that.
And that's fine with me. I did not even realize the Legion was involved. I think that's great that you do whatever you do to get money for the Legion.
But I don't
would
think,
never
that-
step on the.
so that carnival actually allows the Legion to do fish fries that help, that ties in with the Boy
That's
Scouts, and they're able to generate.
I love it. I have
money
no
for
problem
that
with
too.
that at all. I'm just saying the rest of it ought to fall under the city. That way,
None of
You're
us,
not-
none of us are disputing,
yeah, then
none of us are arguing. No,
I just
It-
think
it's-
for
it's
appearances and sake, so that, so that
Transparency.
transparency.
Yeah.
Since our employees do help out quite a bit, they're at festival time. Any expenses that the village has, at least I think there's more accountability for that too, if it is kind of generated that it is a committee that's underneath the village. You have a listing of who those committee members are, so that, heaven forbid anything would happen. All of that's just a little more documented and stuff, and I think that's what I'm hearing is, because I know from the very minute I got on the board, I had some of those questions too, it's like, and then I would go around and I was like, but the village is paying for certain things, but why don't we know more about what's going on? And, and so I have learned a lot through the years too, on who was doing what and that sort of thing, but I just think unfortunately in the world as we have it today with liability and,
so everyone here, we've already had a discussion about being kind of under the umbrella of the village, and nobody has a dispute with that, other than making sure that when we do stuff, that it doesn't linger on for a long period of time, we get an answer.
well, and I think most of what they're asking for would be maybe better communications as far as,
Well-
so that we're more aware of what is actually occurring on village property. A little, and that would just boils down to communication.
Well, and the reason why I bring that up is because I think if we can have a point person such as Joe to go to get those answers a little more quickly, I don't think it would be an issue at all.
So getting answers, like
Just
getting
anything that, I can't give you an example right now, but if there's anything that's going on that we need permission for, we need somebody to go to get that.
what have you needed to get permission for previously?
Like I said, I don't have anything specifically right now, but we like to try new things, like he wanted to do a hot air balloon out there. One
That, I'd
like
like to
that.
get to that, I got no problem with Legion running. It's just one less headache, but I do concur with Tammy that there needs to be a line of communication. Take, for example, if there's something that we can do as a village and help them, if there was an exit strategy at the end of the year. I mean, I've heard complaints about parking and one thing and another like that, and we need to be part of the process. At least know what's going on. Maybe somebody offers some enhancement. And probably the biggest thing, and it's been touched on several, and that's contact. What if, like I said, I was approached somebody with a hot air balloon, I was approached somebody about helicopter. I inquired, we need whoever is here running it to go ahead and they can think that one. The helicopter one, I talked to Mike and he said, about the tractor pull. What tractor pull? I didn't. I mean, it's something like that. Here I am feeling the question that's out of my scope. If something like that would enhance the festival, make it more desirable, then your committee can weigh it.
But
like
this, now I will say, this board was actually, I brought it up 2 or 3 times that we're having a meeting on Tuesday. Feel free to come to the meeting. Nobody showed up. I brought it up several
So
times.
do you
So,
just plan your meetings like on Monday and then they're on Tuesday, or do you?
he's the one that schedules them.
Plan in advance, yeah.
Okay, so advance notice is all we need, not on Monday for Tuesday.
And just add to the conversation, filter where we're going to go with it. So if you're wanting the village to take on holding on to the finances and being the custodian for the group, for the finances, they'll have to adopt a commission format. And which is pretty simple, just goes through an appointment process, and then they're essentially acting as agents of the village at that point. And then the second thing is last year, they did a great job with the special event permit. And they had that's the first, baby step to communicating things, and that's just something to build on, and that's another way to communicate to every one of us here. In the timely way, we need to get it in soon enough to where if there is any questions or, feedback, you all can provide it, but they did that last year, and I thought that was a helpful first step with it, but that's all I got.
Would something be viable to have an article in paper? Vendors that are interested in participating in the festival?
They do it, we do it every year on Facebook. And we've done it Nora done it. In fact,
So-
Angela did it last year on Facebook.
So there is,
Yeah, there is.
Mike has it, Angel had been working it, and Mike has the vendors that we have for every year, contact and then reach back out to them to see if they want to do it again.
Okay.
Yeah, so then, and then, as it's stated in there, we don't usually allow more than 2 vendors selling like items.
So I
Because then it gets too-
understand that, you know,
And then-
especially-
I don't
And as far as
understand that at all, because those lines were outrageous this year.
the food vendors, now, that's
Yeah.
another, we're talking about the merchant vendors.
Oh, okay.
Mike deals with the
Alright.
food vendors. The problem is with the food vendors is Steve and Mike have to work together because there's certain things that the carnival has exclusive that other vendors can't sell. And that's with every carnival, every community, whenever they do it, because they're bringing in their equipment, they've got first rights, but. And they communicate, so then that's when Mike allows certain people to come in, they're allowed to do, allowed to not sell corn dogs, because the carnival might sell corn dogs. That's the stuff they have to juggle and deal with.
Can I make a suggestion? I mean, I said, it was my understanding, it wasn't, you guys didn't have your LLC with your separate PIN number and everything, and I said, I didn't want any particular person to get stuck with
No.
an account with their name on it and then have to worry about being tax liable, liable for that tax money, but maybe a good suggestion is, especially since, I think it was a good start with the permit process last year, is that the communication with your, having us, it's just like with this tonight, I think it was good for everybody to meet who's on the actual committee and to have the opportunity to ask questions and air out any concerns or anything that they have. But then as you guys are planning, be more transparent as far as when those meetings are. So if people do want to show up with a suggestion or an idea, they can attend the meeting and like I said, if Art has somebody he's aware of that might be a good option for the festival. But if that information could be shared with us on a regular basis, since, you are using the park grounds and the park facility, but, going through the permit process, having that down paper, and I think it would be great even if we have our website now too, that whether it's fully under the umbrella of the village or not, it would be nice to have it listed that this is your festival committee and let the community be aware of that. Yes, the Legion does the carnival and, these other entities do this and that, and just have everybody have a little better idea exactly how it is run. And then hopefully maybe you can generate some more people be interested in volunteering to be on your committee. If they knew that there was a committee that functioned, and God, if you want to have a successful festival every year, that you need people to help and volunteer and learn the ropes. I mean, like I said, if people don't learn what all Mike and some of y'all have been doing for years on the festival, how are they ever going to carry on to the future? Because I guarantee you, they're not going to be able to pick it up overnight and say, how the heck did they do all this for all these years? So I think by having more people involved on your committee and to me, the transparency and the communication is the big thing, is just getting that information out there. And then, if the board, since it is on village parks property, just making sure that, we're able to ask questions. So to me, just showing up at a meeting every now and then with the information and getting it to us in a timely, manner that we know a little more what's going on before August.
It's something, you could put their festival committee on the website, so if you had somebody looking at the village.
That's what I'm saying. I would-
That's but it wouldn't be out of line with it, that way they'd have all their contact information.
Yeah, I mean, just like we did with the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and different things, we list the various different groups in the community and their contact information if you want to be a part of that group, anywhere from senior citizens to the women's club. We could most certainly do that, but I think to me, that would be huge in itself. I mean, I don't know. You guys pitch in here.
I think it's an idea, because I think there's that transparency, the communication, I mean, and this first time, I mean, of course, I made a point to go into the meeting, the only thing, I always know about one, kind of like right spur of the moment, but, I'd be interested in here and just kind of sit back and hear what's said.
I mean, I don't have a problem if it was under the umbrella of the village. I mean, liability wise and stuff, it might be more beneficial to you guys to even have your committee be appointed through the village just for your own protection as far as having that committee. Like I said, it's just a matter of, like I said, doing what Joe mentioned is, you know, it's the same people doing the same things. It's just the formality of officially making appointed through the village that this is our festival committee and make it a little more legitimate.
I don't think anybody has a dispute on it. So we have discussion.
And that
about
might need to be a-
Really, our meetings consist of different people who are doing different things, and then we come back and talk about it and move on to the other thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the
It's not-
village wants to take over and control the festival committee at all. I mean, I'm not hearing that from anybody. I just want to be assured that it carries on to the future and that it's, people are aware of who's doing what and that for the village's purposes that we have a good understanding of everything too, so that, you know, we can let our insurance people know in advance what we're allowing on village property and everything too, so.
So Kenny, can you tell me how long you've been on it? Roughly?
What? 8, 9 years, probably 10.
Around 10 probably.
How about you?
I have no idea.
20 years or?
No, because we didn't start doing the tractor pull until. I don't know, 8 years ago, 8, 9 years ago.
And Steve's been around it for a long time.
About 12, 15.
And Mike, how long you been on
Forever.
it?
Well, let me ask you a question. If our food vendor was gonna call, who would they contact on the board? I see something for treasurer, the parade superintendent, tractor pull, advertising, beer can. I mean,
But then, if you look at the, I think it says that he takes care of all the food vendors as
They
well.
call me.
So we just give him his number and they call him and.
so if
And
you
then
had
if
something.
there's a problem, then you might have to call them back and they communicate with each other.
So what if we had a T-shirt for us vendor wants to, they go ahead and call Mike, he can prove it.
No, it's just they come in, they ask I mean, first of all, we contact all the old vendors, see if they want to come back.
I understand.
They want
I'm
the other
talking about
spots.
new ones here
But
because.
then new ones,
Depends on what they have.
yeah, if you have
Who do
two,
they contact here? Okay, so just, so you need to put a notation that, you know, any
It'll be me for this year, because Angie may be back next year, so yes, it's.
and
So if we,
One time.
but if we did it under the umbrella of the city, but they just come into the city building.
to get the
folder.
form.
Inform, but this all needs to be contained in the special event permit before you all approve the form. That way you have all the information, these questions to be answered. Rather than,
Question on that, you gotta have a number of vendors?
the general idea of what, just a little bit more general.
Well, what we can do is we can take
Some
that
of that we
list.
may not know until 2 or 3 weeks in advance.
Well, Mike, what we can do is we can take that list and put it with that special, what we have.
We had
What we've done last year.
And put
And
it,
then put it with the special, so those are all the vendors.
the understanding that it could change.
Yeah, so it might drop off, and then next year we can do the same thing. With the list that was on the prior year, because there's people, we cut it off like a week and a half prior, because it's just layout issues, power
Right.
issues, making sure everything's lined up for it, so.
So to the board, you all either want this to run through the village or you don't. You either want the finances to run through the village or you don't. So there's no gray in those, so you need to. If you want them to come here and get a permit approved to be able to do it, you need to say so. And if you want them to have the finances run through the village and through our procedures, then you need to say that as well. Those are the two things I need to know.
Except for the Carnival of the Legion.
Right.
They do.
Okay, and however we.
But they do provide the certificate of insurance.
So everything, and in addition to that, like the vendor and all that stuff, so if you, so that's up to you all, I don't. Either way,
I
but
mean, I'm gonna be totally honest, so my whole thing is, this is the last year, fantastic. I mean, great turnout, I think the lines were too long for everything, but people seem to love it. But to me, my gut feeling is, this is just shady as all get out. That having the committee and not running it through the city, it's a city, I mean, when people come out, they think it's put on by the city. I guarantee you, they think it's the city or village event, that they think it's put on by the village. And then, you know, the porta potties, the lights, the man hours of people from the city helping out, all great. But I mean, it seems like you guys are collecting all the money, doing everything, and then the city's just putting, you know, that's what I think. I mean, it's my personal opinion though. Joe may say, I don't want to have anything to do with this. Let them continue to do it. It's their problem. I don't need it on my plate.
so you,
So.
You don't want me planning it. 'cause it'll be-
No, I don't. And I don't think these guys don't, because they did a great job last year. Like I said, but what you might is, there's something amiss. I don't know. I'm just saying, gut feeling is, it does.
It's $1,100. We gave those back $800 of that or whatever it was for.
I'm just-
Was advertising.
It's $800 or $900.
Yeah, so, and that's all the money was spent, so light tower.
I'm just telling you my opinion. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just telling you how I feel.
And I
So-
think by having things be more open in communicating things that will be helpful to make it not be an unknown, you know, and I don't think you really mean the word shady necessarily, but I think it's just the unknown that
It's
people don't
non-transparent.
have the answer.
Well, and none of these
Yeah.
are great.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, but
Well,
it just seems,
And I think that it, just like,
something seems odd, but then.
okay, it's like on the insurance, one of the things I talked to Mike about the helicopter, he said, what about the insurance? I said, where do you get the insurance now? So the city, so I mean, you've got conflicts here or there. You know, I can see other people wanting to attend from other, I mean, maybe be a vendor. And it's kind of like, okay, you need to be, this is the person you need to contact if you want to have waffles, whatever, I don't care. You know, if this is, that way you.
That's-
As a taxpayer, I just don't want like you guys to spend a super amount of time like talking about this, and I can already give you what's going.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how many t-shirt vendors they have. I trust Mike and Jim or whoever to like say, okay, we're gonna have this vendor because they contacted us.
And that's fine, just give me the contact.
Yeah, but like, I honestly think people do kind of have an idea of who runs it.
Mhm.
But there are ways that it could be more transparent and like, you know, now that I know for sure who's on it, I can help with that. But like, I just don't, I just don't want you guys to get wrapped up in like, just as a taxpayer, because I think there are so many more important things you guys have on your plate instead of like, I mean, corn dog vendors.
I totally agree with that, because I said, I don't think any of us, we don't want to spend a lot of time here dickering back and forth about, you know, the various different vendors and that sort of thing. And I think that's why the communication
So-
and the transparency thing and I said, for liability purposes, maybe it makes sense just to have your committee be a committee that's, you know, we'll make it officially, we appoint Eric, you know, and so. And then that way, if there's ever a question, you know, same thing with the amount of money or whatever that the village puts into it, whether it's public works people or whatever, you know, we can kind of track that and be accountable, you know, that it's out in the open, that, yeah, we do use our public works guys to help set up the, you know, various different things to help with the festival. It's a
And that we do
festival,
that for other events that are out there too, so that's not the festival, all my crew helps with too, so.
yeah, but that way, everybody, it is out in the open, everybody knows that that's how it is done, and yes, the village is using a couple of porta potties, they're moving from A to B during the festival week, and, you know, that way, even for us financially, you know, we're aware of some of those resources. So if someone does ask or if something happens, we're aware of it and then we can speak plainly about it. That's because we've been communicating with you guys because it's all of something that we're doing together.
So I have two items. Ours talked about, helicopters, hot air. Those have to go through the Legion, with the contract they have with the Carnival where that's even feasible. So,
Well, there again, at that, I mean, somebody approached me about it. And then when I talked to you, you said about the insurance, we had a question. Questions come up now, which I think is good to get the village in on this. What if you need to supplement a writer or something on a certain thing? Maybe you can't have a Tilt-A-Whirl or something like that. I mean, I know it's.
but those have to go through, I'm saying that those kind of rights, so they have to go through the Legion. Because they have to check with their contract, what it says and talk to the Carnival guy.
Yeah.
Well, he will.
Yeah, I just want to make sure
Yes.
we're not,
Well, I understand you.
Staying with
I
other
want to make
meetings.
sure that there's also opportunities for other people who might want to participate. I don't know what it might
Well,
be.
that's why I think too, be more. Maybe village to.
And it's just like right now, until right now, I didn't know we need to contact the Legion, okay? Then it goes down to the point person at the Legion. So it had those kind of things, if it comes out, if Mike fields a question, send it to Legion, then they can address. It. I don't need to be addressing it. And if there's.
That would be Steve, you can contact Steve.
so a lot of the phone calls go, a
Official.
lot of the phone calls go to Mike, and then Mike communicates with Steve. What can be done, what can't, and then Mike pretty much handles it from there, and what direction it goes.
I'd like to see the festival growing the sun, you know. whatever we
The
can
problem,
make
some of the problem is you're landlocked with all that room. You've got the football field you can't go on. You're just, you know, and the soccer field you can't really necessarily use. That's pretty far away.
I don't think.
You can go around Diamond 3 and behind Diamond 3, but you just
So
gotta
you
be
get back
careful.
in there, the powers issue.
Yeah. So that's the only issue is it's kind of locked in there. Because you can't open up the football field and damage that.
Well, there again, if there's things like that, you had people inquiring, and maybe we're looking at like long-term planning, like Terry mentioned. Okay, what if we're going ahead and we're putting lights here, run that extra cable out to go ahead, and now you got a place where you can set up something else. I'm just saying, what those kind of things, I mean, the village needs to know if it's gonna help you expand, we kind of need to be in the loop. And the communication being the key thing, all this.
One other question I have, are you waiving the food permit this year? For the
When in the
vendors?
what? I'm sorry.
Well, I'm assuming they call them a food truck permits, are you gonna waive that for the festival? Like you did last year?
We can do that, just, when you're,
They're gonna pay the fee,
Vendor fee.
vendor fee, which is comparable to the food permit anyways.
we can, yeah, well, that'd be a good thing to add to the special event permit, to just detail those little nuances out and ask that.
Because at one point in time, the reason why the fees were adjusted, at one point in time, I was the only vendor out there. And nobody was out there. I was almost ready to drop out myself, and then he dropped the fees, and
dropped
people
the fee,
started
yeah.
coming down before I even got on board with them, so that we kind of found the sweet spot on that.
Because the fees used to be higher for the vendors, and then there was nobody showing up, so this when we dropped them.
So it's been growing
Office,
since
like for not problem.
You were going to talk about dropping the food truck certificates or whatever you call it, permit. They still have to have a health department permit, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
that's state, yeah, that is state.
He's
Yeah.
Fee that the village would give for anybody to come in with a food truck.
Okay.
Well, currently, if there's a food truck that comes into town, there's certain places they have to go and they pay the village.
To do all the reason I'm at, because the carnival food would be involved, that's what they're.
They get their own permits.
No, that's a fee they pay to the village.
Well, yeah,
On top of the vendor fee.
I know, but we have to
Right.
vendors out there, the food vendors have to go through the Champaign County, and we have to
Yeah,
go
they
through
do
Champaign
themselves,
County.
yes.
We have to have that too.
Anybody who's serving food out there has to get inspected by public health.
Right.
The
Yeah.
carnival also,
Inspector
works
comes out,
with
yeah.
advertising, they make the posters and the things that they know as well, so.
Are we getting a new carnival company this year?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
Connor Amusements,
Kyle Connor,
Kyle Campbell's his name.
Campbell, yeah.
Connor
I've
Amusements.
talked to him several times, but
If you guys went to Albany last year for their festival, they were set up there by Ball Diamond.
So they have one ride, two rides that are worth $1 million.
Yeah.
And they're gonna rotate those rides and they have more rides.
He
as
has
well.
the capability of splitting up, going two places at once.
So they'll rotate rides. So they're fresh.
This year, he's going to be out, like most of them in Georgetown Fair.
And then those big rides are gonna be impressive to people.
Yeah.
Hopefully drawing more people out, because that was one of the complaints was the staleness of the rides.
I said, the village does not want to run the festival. I just think it's a good idea for the future of the festival is that we work a little more closely with the festival committee. It would help you guys, it would help us to be aware of what's going on and you know, since we are participating financially and it's on village property, I just think it's a good partnership that we have moving forward. In
Yeah.
the future.
I don't think anybody disagrees with that either.
And as far as, you know, I just the reporting and communication, I think is a huge
But
thing. And
if we can make, like I said, even Joe, if we have any questions, we can go to him and have some guidance on that, more so.
yeah, I mean, Joe's in the office every day and it's an easy spot to drop off questions and things but as long as he's aware of who to.
Well, and then that way you can make a decision whether it has to go to the board meeting for approval or not.
So I need two things answered from you. I need direction on them. So one, do you want to have a formal structure for this community to be under the village? And then the second part of that question is, if you want that, then all finances will need to run the village formally, the way we do it with anything else.
all finances,
Except for things that run through the Legion's organization. So whatever is separate from you all from Legion.
The Legion's gonna take care of what they take care of.
Yeah.
So basically, anything the festival brought in is just gonna be.
It would
Not
be a
the
separate,
Legion.
it would be a separate fund.
Right.
It would just be, like I said, it would be under the heading, I mean, like I said, any reporting or anything, like I said, it would be part of our finances. And basically you would submit your invoices and, I mean, we already paid for the fireworks, you know, obviously we're already paying for the guys' salaries and things that, you know, we're paying for. But it would even be more of a budget item for us too, so that if there was more in the future that the village needed to do to make the festival grow or whatever, that would be something that the committee could approach us with, just like they've in the past approached us about fireworks and different things. Approach us that, hey, we need more electricity out on the far end of the field. Is there any way we could budget something that so we could extend the festival? I just think that might be a good way to communicate and to have the village and the festival move forward in the future.
So I just need to get more of a straw poll with everybody here before I spend any time with Mark putting that together.
And get to this all whole, can I ask one, but on the bear tent, do they take care of their own insurance? What?
Yeah.
Everyone.
He also means a village under liability insurance.
So
He
we
brings-
names.
Well, whenever somebody had an event like the IGA, they put the IGA in an additional insured as the villages to go.
Yeah, you're listed as.
So what kind of liability is that?
There is no liability, it's just saying that they're covering it during that event that's out there. That makes sense. So it's additional insurance.
We still have to notify our insurance company of the various different events that are going on. But part of it would be that we're listed as the additional insured so that we know that they have their own insurance. But we are also aware of, and it helps our insurance
It's,
too.
it's no different than a mowing company that mows like for farm and fleet. They bring you a certificate of insurance with your name. That's.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
When is the cutoff date for that notice of our insurance? I mean, you can't just the day before, okay, here's all the things here. Don't they have to?
Yeah, that's why I would like to get it in as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, what Mike said, a lot of times you know somebody's coming 2 weeks ahead of time.
If
Should
you got
be a
this,
cutoff date of.
No, about the dates for the insurance, not the number of people.
in a general idea of what.
August 10th, 11, 12.
Right, we know that, but I mean, what vendors, you know, if you got.
No, that's not.
Well, like I said, we-
Just the
Like
event.
That sheet. to
Type of event.
our insurance
It doesn't
company.
even know vendors.
Just, yeah, it's type of event, so it'll be an event with rights and a beer tent, whatever.
Right.
They don't need to know we're gonna have,
They don't need to.
25
vendor like.
No,
yes, they
They'll food vendor that. it's-
no, it's just, yes, type of event, the dates.
we pay for an additional amount of insurance on the fireworks display. Which is a small fee with IML RMA, which is, we just add that extra coverage just in case we.
See, and that's the same thing with the fireworks company. They also have their insurance.
Additional
listed,
insurance.
the additional.
So did you get your questions answered?
With these questions,
Yeah.
Um,
No, your questions, your few questions. Did you get your?
no, I haven't.
That's what.
That's, so I would like to at least, I mean, if there's anybody that's. I need to just make sure I got at least a majority to move forward and spend time with Mark on it. You're one that. But if we do the money, we're gonna do it the money, the way we do it for anything else, there isn't gonna be. It'll be no different than how we take in. Sewer payments or, you know, we'll have to run it through. Get receipts and all that stuff, the way we do everything else, so that's what that means whenever I say that. So,
That's the way I personally see it down, but if people think it's running fine the way it is, then. Let it stay the way it is.
So my vote is no for both.
no,
Let them go do what they've been doing. It's gonna need additional time to figure that out.
I'll vote yes.
okay, so one yes, one no. Anybody else wanna say anything?
I'm kind of on the fence. I'd like to just see them run with it, but I'd like to know what we're working with for the future.
Just be more transparent.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with Max on that. I just don't want to see the complication run through the city. Let them do their own thing, but go ahead and it may be something. If, you know, there isn't a transparent everything, well, then we'll look at maybe going ahead and run through the city. I just think it's another layer that, you know, I'm just not sure about it this time.
Well, we can also, if you wanna take some time and sleep on it, we can always come back and you can. Chat about it at the next meeting as well, so.
Okay.
I don't wanna put, I'm not trying to put too much pressure on you to make it.
Well, I think-
you're making it.
I think it's been enlightening for them too, if, you know, that they're gonna have conversations on it without making. The definitive decision. I'm sure that when they leave here, they're gonna say, hey, there was a good idea, but you know, or a bad idea, or we can do this better or not do it better, or what can we do for the contact information? I mean, there's all kinds of things.
We can plan on bringing it back if that's where everybody would feel a little bit more comfortable, and then we can just chat and finish up the conversation at the. Next meeting and.
Yeah, but let's put the rest by the next meeting.
Good.
So we don't kid, right?
Yeah.
Let's make the decision at next meeting, have discussions. Just move forward.
And if you find out when the cutoff is for the insurance, so that, I mean, Mike knows that, when they gotta have everything lined up with the insurance company.
I can find out. I'm gonna bet you, they say we don't have like a necessary cutoff date, but we'd really like to know. So, but I bet you that's what they're gonna say, but I will.
I think usually I think that will get them notices probably May or June, if you got events coming up for the summer. And like that. I think
They want to see this, they want to see the special event permit. So they want to, like, they were a little shocked at the scope of it. Last year, whenever I sent in the kind of some of the details, so I think they would rather see it like in writing, and we did it last year.
So we can
Oh,
probably,
you said
we can,
that too.
but Mike,
That's how I model a lot of that permit, it's all.
I didn't know you did.
we can have that permit, we can have a meeting between now and then, have that permit done for the next meeting.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And have that list and stuff like that, so. That's something that needs to be put in right away anyway, so it doesn't be sitting around and waiting till the last minute, so.
Have you ever thought reaching out to car dealers, asking if they want to show some of their products? Take people ride?
Well, that's why we've reached out, the Corvette Club and the MG people were coming out, but last year they couldn't make it work, but. People like showing their cars off, so it goes out.
I'm talking about a new car dealer. They
Yeah,
want to show you that new, yeah. I mean, I'm throwing that out as a suggestion.
he might know somebody.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know that they're gonna want a new car sitting out
I say,
You got demonstrators.
Gazillion people out there.
in the dust and dirt, I don't know, yeah, that.
Leave on.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. I think it's been beneficial to get a lot of questions answered, and like I said, everything you do is greatly appreciated. I think the festival's been successful for a long time. I would like to see it continue to be successful for the future. And we just want to figure out the best way to go forward and to make sure it continues to survive. So maybe by having Nora report on this time, maybe you'll even get some new people to join your committee. That will be nice to have some additional hands to clear that together, so. You know, I have to. So.
All right, thanks for coming, guys, I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna jump back up to number one with the budget with the sinkholes.
Mike has some quotes for you for some pole repair throughout the community. It's pretty straightforward. We just have a bit, so. This will be paid for in the next fiscal year. We just wanted to get it going and.
Get on your schedule.
Yeah,
Is there any difference between the two things that we're not seeing
No,
besides the price?
no.
Well, actually, there's I can go ahead and make a motion, but I thought you'd note on dues. It says they get both contracts, it's reduced another $1,000. I don't know if you saw that or not. But it way down there right under the totals. So essentially that's 1716. That other, I can't really understand why Croft had two transportation costs. I mean, that's $4,000 on each one of them. You know, I mean, 2,000 on each one, 4,000 total. You take that, I mean, it's a mobilization, you know.
so,
Make your motion, Max. I'm good with it.
yeah, we're good to go just with this if you are.
Yeah, I make a motion, we go with, do you need a motion?
Yeah,
I make a motion, we go with Duke's Construction for both of them.
I'll second it.
that was Max and Mark.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Redner,
Yes.
Van Buskirk,
Yes.
Painter.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Max, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
6-0.
You got a copy of this, Joe? Yep. Need to sign. That's it.
Okay, item is budget, conversation exhibit number 7, which I really get my classes out to read that. And I'd like to zoom in on it. When I have it on the computer, I was able to zoom it and make it bigger there, so,
There's only. There's only 3 things on here tonight. That you're going to vote on, correct, Joe?
Yeah, well, we're gonna approve one on the slate and then.
Okay, go ahead.
And then to add on so what we are recommending this, we went through a very deliberate process to go through everything in our fleet. And this isn't everything that we originally slated for replacement this year. but it's the ones that we have concern won't last another year. The trailer is a replacement, like we've discussed. The line striper is pretty self-explanatory, it's age. The pickup truck has had numerous expenses over the last 2 years and then the forks is a new acquisition that we need for operation of the sewer plant and other miscellaneous operations. The lift station is getting old and by moving forward with lift station number 1, and if you look at our schedule, we're on a trajectory to have all of our lift stations fully replaced within 8 years. Which those lift stations are a piece of equipment you want to run them until they die, because when they die, you're in a bad situation.
You're in deep duty.
Exactly. And so, and then the mower is the one that we saw, which is the blue one with the cab that we use for sidewalk cleaning and other miscellaneous items. Mike and Luke will work together and figure out a replacement, because it's kind of a unique piece of equipment. But like Mike was saying, we want to get the next fiscal year's slate of vehicles and equipment for replacement, get it approved, that'll be in the budget, and be good to go. And then the second part is we want to get the lift station ordered, and we want to get the striper, and which was the other one we were wanting to do? The forks. And so we want to get those ordered, especially the lift station, because it sounds like there's a 6-month turnaround on it.
And just to say that lift station replaced, it affects every one of your houses except Joe.
Interior.
No, just you. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry, Terry.
And yeah, so Terry and I are good, so if y'all don't want to do it, then.
Yeah. Everybody else affects your houses.
Yeah.
Can I say something? Especially on the station. Yes, those lift stations are something that's never, ever going to go away. We're going to have those. So upgrading those periodically is the best thing for our sewer system. Other than doing the upgrade, which is out for bid right now. But we're going to have to do that. And that 3rd Street, yes, like Mike said, it's affecting everybody. One of you guys, except for Joe and Terry. That's Douglas Street that would affect that. So, yeah, they're very expensive. But on the other hand, you have to have them and they have to be working very precisely. And just for example, we got called out this morning. It went down. And yes, we can get them filled or fixed and done and drying that, but eventually all the parts are going to wear out. I got to order in for new spare parts, but everything's upgrading to new parts. They don't sell the old parts for this. So we have to retrofit and try to go back and forth trying to make everything work. So that's the reason. And plus, it is, by the time we order, it could be 4 to 6 months before it's even shipped. And we will not get billed until it is shipped. So that'll go back on the next fiscal year.
So all we need is a motion to approve the slate. And
I just have a question about the tractor, the sidewalk tractor. What do we use that for?
Bullet Mike.
We use that, to plow the sidewalks uptown. We use that for pulling the water wagon, dragging diamonds.
That little tractor you drive with diamonds?
That forward, yes.
That little track, yes, we drag the diamonds, not the water wagon, but the water wheel.
That little thing we saw in there, is that what we're
Yeah, yeah, in our shed, yes. That tractor, yes.
Water reel.
And the water wheel.
So Mike and Luke have discussed finding another tractor that has the same footprint, but might be a little bit more multi-use typically.
Say the same thing, yes. We will not have, we won't buy a deck for it because they're always buy them separate. We have a deck to trade in with it. And then, like I say, the straight blade will go with the trade.
And we don't necessarily need to trade it. We can do the municipal bid or whatever auction site. But also we signed a deal when they put this bike path through town that everything asphalt that we will treat when you guys did that. So we also plow that and make sure that's good in the winter time as well through town.
The question I have, Joe, I guess if you don't find the vehicle, or let's just say we find one that be multi-use, that has a footprint that's acceptable, and we don't buy it, can that money be carried over? I don't want to get in a situation where we have to spend it. It's one thing to budget it, but does it have to be spent?
But the only thing is trying to find parts for this for the
Well,
one.
and I understand the new column, I understand that, but I'm just saying, if you don't find it, does it have to be spent this year, or you're gonna settle for maybe something less?
No, so all you're doing is you're approving it up. You're approving those three. You're just, no, you're approving all. You're approving the slate and you're approving the up to amount of money for each item.
Got it.
So I don't know if you all caught that. You're approving the up to amount, you're approving up to $55,000.
It's a matter of appropriation. You have to appropriate for it to spend it.
Make a motion to get.
Second,
So we're approving the up to the 227.5.
Yes.
Plus four,
What?
plus four, it's not on this.
What?
For the courts,
They're on,
It's
they're
on there.
$4,000.
I'm afraid I don't have a magnifying glass. Where is it?
It is right in there.
One thing I did say, right, when it said,
Oh, there it is, okay.
that was only different from July, January to. For the month of January. I called it and it's okay, okay. You called it, okay. Surprise.
I'm sorry. Who made the motion? Who seconded?
And Terry did.
It was who and Terry?
And Terry.
Anybody want to brown?
We'll share.
Yeah. you come out.
Rapp,
Yes,
Wagner,
Yes.
and Buskirk,
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Cummings.
Yes.
6-0.
All right, Joe, do you have anything to add for your? Tiffany, do you have anything to add tonight?
Yeah, you'll be getting an email from the county clerk about your economic interest statements. There's a bit of a rush because I dropped the ball. They're going to be due May 1st. I'll be at the next meeting, so if worst comes to worst, I can grab them at the next meeting and take them in for you.
have we been sent that stuff?
She said we're gonna meet.
Okay,
Does it just get dropped off at Brookins or something?
Yeah.
yeah.
You can do them online, but remember last year what a nightmare doing them online was?
Okay.
So we can try to do, they'll send you a password. It should come out later this week. If we can't do it online, I can grab them and take them in and drop them off at Brookins, or we can mail them in, whatever is best for you.
We'd like hard copies, please.
You would like hard copies?
Yes.
Okay, I can get that to you right away.
Okay, Mike and Luke, do you have anything to add?
No.
Luke?
Yeah, I do. In the previous, the past week and a half, we attended a exercise, training. It was with the village, the fire department, and the township was supposed to be there. but they had an emergency. Then also Joe was there and one of the trustees, just to show in case of emergency, we went with Champaign County EMA. We did an exercise in case a tornado hit the town, what the steps were to take. Also with IPW Man, which I'm an officer with, so that we could go through the scenario of who to have command and who knows what. And that was with John Dwyer, who lives here in St. Joe. He's the director. And he will also be doing we're also going to do a plan for our hometown, since that's a big event, such for bad weather or any other emergency that would happen. And then also for the fall festival, to have a plan in order with everybody, so we know if something breaks out, we know what to do.
Thank you for putting our opinion on that too. It's reassuring to know that that's all being brought out, so appreciate that. I have just a couple things. Speaking of, remember Mary Butzel that was here with the digital newspaper stuff that they're trying to do the history back. She had sent an email there. Have enough money that it looks like they're going to be able to do all of the 60s and 70s, I think is what they're at. But anyway, they're still working on getting all the years through on that. They've raised $6,500 so far for their project. They continue to do fundraising. The village hasn't yet donated anything. We wanted to see how well they were doing with things. I would like for you guys to give it a little. I do think it's important for the village. I know we don't always donate for various different things for a lot of different reasons, but I think the village in the future could get a lot of use out of digitally being able to go to articles and things about, just like the questions that were asked tonight about the festival. We could punch that in. We could maybe pull up the answers on some of those history of the fall festival type questions. But anyway, so if you want to give that some thought, let Joe what you might be thinking, and then maybe we can put that on the agenda for next meeting. Debbie sent out an email or notified you this Samoa is on the 20th, next Thursday in Tolono. We need to get the RSVPs in, but I think Debbie's kind of touch base with all of you guys. Just a reminder for that. Also, you all should have gotten an invite to save the date for the Taste of Tourism through the Champaign Visitors Bureau. That will be on May 17th. They'll be celebrating their 40th anniversary. I know Art and I have gone a couple times to that. And it's always a nice, we're a member of that, and we're a part of it, so you guys are all welcome to go to it. It's always usually a nice event.
That invitation come an email
Yeah.
from Jane?
Yes,
Okay,
and it was mostly just to save the date thing.
okay.
I think there should be another one coming out that will give you the details and to RSVP. So just to give you a heads up on that. And then also I want to give you a heads up that next Tuesday on the 18th, Adam Nienberg, who is our state representative, will be here. They do their traveling office things every now and then. They will be here at our office at 1:15 that day. So if you guys have any questions for your
That's next Tuesday, you say?
yes. So if you have any questions that you'd like to discuss with his office, they will be here. Usually they just set up here in the conference room, and anybody who wants to come in and ask questions, or if you have something, you know, that you want to share with him or whatever, either he or one of his representatives will be here for that. So, but that's all I have. Also, Mary Butzel does, speaking of the festival, they would like to have a booth for the festival. And bring in the popcorn truck that the Champaign Museum has there, that old antique popcorn truck to set up. So I told her to get a hold of you. So I think they might want to be in the parade too.
So with the Mary Butzel thing, you all left it off that you wanted to set an amount and fill in the gap whenever they get closer to their fundraising goal. that you didn't want to just throw money at it without it being fully funded. That's where you left off the conversation. So if you changed your mind on that, you just need to.
So can we just, all of us, send you an amount that we think and you can average that?
You can, but your sentiment last time was that you didn't want to just do that and the thing didn't.
Well, it seems like it's taken off in there.
Well, it's still, I thought they needed 16,000, half of it.
That's where, I mean, I could look up the minutes and get the conversation that you all had, but that's, I'm just telling you, that's where you were. So.
That was just her update, is that they're up to 65.
Right, so.
And apparently that's enough to do all of the 60s and 70s. I think they're gonna go ahead and do that this summer, so.
Also, if they want to get a hold of, we had that meeting for this, Legion. Greg Knott has about 500 pictures or so already scanned. So I know that they're doing newspapers and stuff, but I don't know if she's interested in any of those.
I think she's been in touch with him on.
He hadn't,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
no, because I had asked him, he was there last night, but I asked him how many he had, he said there's about 500 of them before he had scanned. So that might be some pictures that they might be able to incorporate into.
Or even the museum there. too.
Right.
Yeah, so, anyway, so that's all I have, for now. You as trustees, do you have anything to add?
I'd like to say congratulations to Jim and Dan for,
And yourself.
okay, let's be a threesome here. About the successful election. I hope that
Yeah.
we don't disappoint our constituents. Be good stewards of taxpayer dollars.
And we will, be swearing you guys in at the first meeting, won't be the next meeting, it'll be the first meeting in May. Because you
Okay,
have to wait for the.
so we
vote
start
call.
swearing in May.
Yeah, to get that all official, get those votes certified. So, but yeah, congratulations.
Oh, who's going to Samoa?
Gotta go.
I'm gonna go.
Me and Jagger.
Hey, do you have a name tag, Max?
I do
Village name
somewhere. I'm pretty sure I do.
Everybody does.
Mine got,
Burned up.
lost in fire. Do I get a new one or
Maybe
anybody
I'll
doesn't have one?
fire.
Yeah.
You can use that for a while, right?
Yeah. I'll take it.
If no one has anything else to add, then, take a motion.